Hi. Today I've decided to sharpen this hunting knife that I purchased. Now the Damascus, when I first got it, it was a little bit faded, and so I decided to try the coffee treatment, and it worked fantastic. Look at that. So first of all, what I did is I sanded it down with a 2000 grit, then 3000 grit, and all the black was pretty much gone. I've got a before shot here, which you can see, which is before I did the sanding. And here's an after shot. You can see the difference is dramatic. And all I did was I bought a jar of Nescafe, the standard 5 darkness, like the medium standard, just the normal everyday Nescafe. Undid the lid, poured water straight into the whole jar of coffee, thought that was probably strong enough. Left the knife in there for about an hour, pulled it out, and was shocked to see it like this. Have a closer look. Don't tell me that's not dark enough. And I wasn't expecting it to work, so I didn't record it. But if you want me to, I can sand this all back again and do it again so you can prove it. But trust me, don't worry about thickness, strength of coffee, just the whole jar. It's got air in there between all the grains, so just pour the water straight in, hot water, and dip it in there for about an hour. It'll come up fantastic. So what I'm going to do though with this one is I'm going to sharpen it at around about 35 to 40 degrees because I want a fairly wide bevel. I'm not going to use this for hunting. I'm not a hunter. It's just for show. I want a fairly wide bevel, and then I'm going to polish it on the Japanese wheel, which I haven't done for a while. So that's fun. Now the problem with these is that it's very thick. So the standard clamp has got the offset problem, so I don't want to use that. So I'm going to use the horrible new one. Why is it horrible? Well, it does the center split, which keeps the knife even, but these cups on the end are just, this is not even, I don't know. I'm used to the cup where I can fit my thumb in behind, just like that. And that's how I've done thousands of knives, so I can't use that one unless I absolutely have to, which I will do on the thick knives. Now, one thing I did want to show you was the Damascus and how it goes all the way through the blade. See how the Damascus goes all the way across, and you can see it's all in the back. Beautiful. So it's a genuine Damascus knife. Probably made in Pakistan, but still, I like it. So, clamp it on. And set the angle. I've got this set to 20, but I'll make it a little bit leaner than that. Now, because it's a fresh grind, I'm going to grade the wheel with an 80 grit. I've got fresh water. Now these knives, I'm told, are made of 440C and some other materials, so we'll see how they grind up. Nice. Hate this. I've got a long way to go, so that's why I'm doing multiple passes on one side. It does feel fairly tough. God, such a bad design. Right, it's a pretty fat bevel because it's a thick knife. Ugh, hate this design so much. See the Damascus pattern coming through. I'll show you later when it's all finished. Now, this is really fat bevel, and on second thoughts I probably should have done it at a steeper angle because it doesn't need to be that big, but I'll persist, and if I can get that to shine up on the 400 it should look nice. I've got some burr there now, so I'm already on the edge, so I've just got to make sure it's even. Okay, that's done. Actually looks a bit fatter on this side than this side, so I might do it more on this side. Really get in on that tip. Okay, that looks a bit more even. Except that tip now needs more work on this side. But the bevel is fine, so I'll zoom through that. Okay. Now, in order to avoid the scratches from the 80 grit appearing on the shine, you've got to take it down to as fine as possible. So I'm going to take it to 320, maybe even hit it with the 1000 on the standard wheel. So I can minimise those scratches as much as possible, otherwise they show up. Now sometimes I do use the stone to knock those grains off because I can still feel a few there, and this takes it down a little bit smoother than the diamond plates do. Can still feel a few grains on there. Should do it. so awkward having the thumb on top. I'm used to having it underneath. That should be, I've still got a few grains on there. Shouldn't be sounding as crunchy as that. Could be the composition of the knife, don't know. Take it down to the 1000. Could be that the wheel's not entirely flat and there are some valleys in there which are keeping some of the coarse grit. So I'll use the corner to sort of dig in there to those valleys. Not ideal, but it does the job. You can hear how quiet the stone is now. Well, it was. There you go. Those crunching sounds are not ideal. So it sounds like there's patches on the wheel. It should have done a full leveling so that it's all even. I haven't leveled it for ages. But we'll see how it comes out. And if it's unsuccessful, I'll do it again with a proper level. So that should be a pretty silent wheel. Like that. That's how it should sound. trying to find the smooth spots. This is my own knife, it's not a customer's knife. I'd be more worried if it was a customer's knife, but we'll see how it turns out. Alright. I should clean the water, but I put fresh water in before I started this film, so it doesn't really matter that much. This is a fairly used SJ. I'll condition it with the diamond plates, which work as normal. I'll start with a 320. No. Start with an 80. Try and clean it up a bit. You'd think that would ruin the wheel, but it doesn't. It still feels slick and smooth. It's starting to clean up a bit now. Should be fine. Now I've got to refine the angle, so I'll use a Sharpie. Bit on the tip, so on the edge, so that means it has to lay down a little bit more. Perfect. That's where it was before. Now it's all the way across. It should shine up. See how we go. Really hitting that blade much. I don't know what happened there. You can see how I'm hitting the top. but not the full bevel. Let's try this side, see what happens. This is also hitting the top, so that means it needs to stand up more. This will not be perfect. That's a bit better. It takes so little off that it can take a while to do this and get the SJ to produce decent results, especially if it wasn't ground very smooth before coming onto the Japanese wheel. Because Japanese wheel is not going to smooth out scratches from the SG wheel, because it only really runs across the top. But if you have several hours, you can sit here and try and battle it. And I've come up too high now, so that means I've got two bevels on there. Not ideal, but I'll just keep it real. Those are the regular problems. So I might as well keep it in the video and show you. I've got two definite facets on that side. So now that I've dead up totally, I'll just lower it a little bit. See if I can catch all the bevel. I'll clean this up a bit. Loading up with metal doesn't really help, so I'm just going to use some sandpaper on that. Some 1500 will do. It wears it out straight away, but it takes the metal off. Not that it matters too much because it all gets straight back on there. But if you persist, you will wear it down. And it's not without grit, it's 4,000, so it's something. Just not. Okay, so that's now right in the middle of those two that I did before. And if I stick with it, I should be able to get a mirror that looks even. Pushing down fairly hard. It's not perfect, but it's broadening, so it will get there eventually. Even though this is 1500, it doesn't seem too perturbed. It just feels slippery and slimy like it always does. such a bad design. There's just nowhere to get your thumb on there. Might chop this off and see if I can glue the standard cup on there somehow, or do something, because that's just atrocious. Atrocious design. What were they thinking? I guess they weren't. Sometimes people just like to change things because they want to change them for no good reason. Still a burr on there because I haven't been able to come up to this edge here, and you can see it looks kind of okay, but it's not perfect. See that? See how I'm missing the tip, the edge, right? I've got to, now I can tilt the machine up again and see if I can get that. See how I've missed the tips there? A couple of spots here, or the edge I mean. If you do the side on, it looks great. So it'll make a great short, but not fixed yet. I'm not even sure if it's getting onto the wheel under that black muck, which is metal coming off. So metal's coming off, but I'm not sure if it's doing the proper grind like it should do. Or whether we should keep taking it off. These SJ wheels are pretty much a waste of time and money. I wouldn't bother getting one if you're only concerned about sharpness. The SG wheel will get you as sharp as you need for any purpose. These are just for showing off. It's just a big wank as far as I'm concerned. I'm very complaining today, aren't I? That's right, by now all the casuals would have gone anyway, only the diehards are left. It does seem to be marching towards the edge, so if I keep on it, it should get there. See if I can roughen it up a bit. Don't know if you can roughen up these wheels, to be honest. But I think you can. It's not as adjustable as the SG wheel is. But I'm pretty sure that cutting on the blue is better than cutting on the black. Doesn't feel any different. If you're still watching, thank you. So it's definitely taking metal off, otherwise it wouldn't appear on the wheel. Nearly there. It's getting better. You've got to go slow to give the wheel a chance to do its job. If you skate around all over the place, you're bound to get more facets, less beauty. It takes so long. It's commercially unviable. I've only ever had one person pay me to put a polished edge on. So considering the wheel costs $650 million, I'm not sure that it's worth it. If you're considering getting one, don't bother, I would say. Serves no purpose. Feels pretty sharp. Not as sharp as a normal knife. It could be just because I can't get the thing on there properly with the right angle with the clamp on. Certainly looks purdy. Might try going a bit faster. Get more grinds in. Might help. Looks like I've got a little chip there. Doesn't matter. Feel free to skip ahead at the end of the video, see what it looks like. Feels pretty bloody sharp. Let's just try one more clean up job. One good thing that I use this for though is I use the rounded edges for getting into serrated knives and gives it a nice shiny sort of finish, but it mangles the corner, really rounds it off a lot. So I don't know if it's worth the $650 trillion just for that purpose, but hold the clamp weirdly. Just doesn't fit my thumb. It's just, oh well. It takes so long, it's not even worth it. In order to get a perfect mirror, you really should spend more time on the previous wheel, making sure that it's super smooth. You see I was getting a lot of extra crunching, which is showing up on this now. So if anything, make sure that you do your preparation better than I did here. I'm not going back, but the one tip to be taken from this video is prepare your SG wheel perfectly with a fresh dressing and perfect preparation on the various grades. I probably rushed it a bit, and now I'm paying for it because it's taking extra time on this. Feels very sharp. Also, if this angle wasn't so acute, it'd be smaller and be easier to polish. So I'm really asking a lot of this wheel. That little nick is still there. Might run a little bit on the because this adds a bit of shine as well. And this green oxide, chrome oxide paste starts at 8,000. That's a 4,000. This starts at 8,000 and diminishes at around 16,000. So might help a little bit, bring some shine up. Got to run it on the bevel, which is the gripping point. Line it up on that apex a bit, see if I can get an edge. Alright, let's have a look. Feels good. I'm going to leave it there. Maybe. Run it up on the apex a bit more. Looks a bit uneven. Alright, bring the camera back around. You can see the Damascus pattern in there. Wonder if it cuts. So there you go. Leave a comment below, let me know what you think. See you again.